Kevin Durant back to Oklahoma Thunder, Paul George to the Pacers, Chris Paul goes back to the Hornets, and LeBron James back to the Cavs. We're sending every player back to the team that drafted them, and these are the best teams. So let's begin with the best team in the Eastern Conference. Number 8, Charlotte Hornets. Now the Hornets haven't advanced past the first round of the playoffs in 21 years, and even when they have, it's been 7 years. Now imagine what this club might achieve if they had this starting lineup that includes LaMelo Ball and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the same team. Aside from these two walking buckets, the Hornets have Tobias Harris as a small forward, guaranteeing them at least 16.2 points per game on a 47.7% shooting percentage. I mean, if you have Shai and LaMelo, that should be more than enough. Regardless, they also have PJ Washington and Frank Kaminsky, and no shade to these players, but they just aren't good enough, which is why the Hornets are in number 8. Point guard, LaMelo Ball. Shooting guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Small forward, Tobias Harris. Power forward, PJ Washington. Center, Frank Kaminsky. Number 7, Orlando Magic. Coming in at number 7 is the Orlando Magic. Even though the Magic now have the 3rd worst record in the league, their supporters might find comfort in the fact that this team might have been a title contender if they still had all of their active picks. Jalen Suggs is the starting point guard, followed by Victor Oladipo, Paolo Banchero, Aaron Gordon, and Domantas Sabonis. Point guard, Jalen Suggs. Shooting guard, Victor Oladipo. Small forward, Paolo Banchero. Power forward, Aaron Gordon. Center, Domantas Sabonis. This team is one to reckon with, and not because of Oladipo or Banchero. You only need to look at what Aaron Gordon and Sabonis have been up to this season to see how devastating this team could have been. Guess it's simply another what-if scenario. Number 6, Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors are the team at position 6. Now initially, I must mention that we have to skip the point guard role for obvious reasons, but then we still have one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA, DeMar DeRozan. And then we have the 2021-2022 Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes, followed by Pascal Siakam and Jonas Valanciunas. Now, if this doesn't scare other NBA teams, I don't know what would. Unfortunately, the Raptors haven't really drafted a decent point guard in what seems like forever. But even at that, we can still play OG Anunoby at that position, and it would still be an all-star team. Point guard, OG Anunoby. Shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan. Small forward, Scotty Barnes. Powered forward, Pascal Siakam. Center, Jonas Valanciunas. Number 5, Atlanta Hawks. At number 5, we have the Atlanta Hawks, and these players are walking buckets. Besides, this lineup is a potential title challenger. They literally have Dennis Schroeder and Luka Doncic, who was traded for Trae Young right away. But one can only imagine what Luka would have done with this Hawks team. By the way, they also have one of Kelly Oubre Jr., who is currently having his best scoring season ever, as well as John Collins and Al Horford. Point guard, Dennis Schroeder. Shooting guard, Luka Doncic. Small forward, Kelly Oubre Jr. Power forward, John Collins. Center, Al Horford. Now this team is undeniably a balanced team, and with Luka Magic being Luka, well, the damage this team is capable of doing can never be underestimated. Number 4, Philadelphia 76ers. At number 4, we have the Sixers, and what this team could have been is way scarier than what they are right now. I mean, they currently have Harden, but just imagine the Sixers having a lineup that has Jrue Holiday at point guard, Tyrese Maxey, Andre Iguodala, the currently red-hot Michael Bridges, and then Joel Embiid. Point guard, Jrue Holiday. Shooting guard, Tyrese Maxey. Small forward, Andre Iguodala. Power forward, Michael Bridges. Center, Joel Embiid. Now, I see no weakness, and many teams will no doubt have trouble looking for one. Let's move into the top 3. Number 3, Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers come in at number 3, and yeah, this team could have been the envy of many, and this is no exaggeration. We are talking a starting lineup of Karis LeVert, Lance Stevenson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Miles Turner. Point guard, Karis LeVert. Shooting guard, Lance Stevenson. Small forward, Paul George. Power forward, Kawhi Leonard. Center, Miles Turner. I mean, we are already seeing what Kawhi and PG are doing with the Clippers, but good lord, with Stevenson, LeVert, and Turner by their sides, what the duo would have done to other teams would have been unfair. Number 2, Boston Celtics. And number 2 is the Boston Celtics, which is no doubt the envy of all NBA teams because despite getting all of these players drafted years ago, this lineup is actually still the starting lineup of the team. We have Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, and Robert Williams. Point guard, Marcus Smart. Shooting guard, Jaylen Brown. Small forward, Jason Tatum. Power forward, Grant Williams. Center, Robert Williams III. I mean, while they have proven to be able to score any time, what makes this team formidable is their defense. It's scary hours for any team looking to face them. And now the number 1 best team in the Eastern Conference, if every player played for their first pick draft team is... No, wait a minute. Before I unveil the best team, let me show you what would have been the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And it is none other than the Brooklyn Nets. Worst team? Brooklyn Nets. At the point guard role, they practically have no one, and that's because they haven't drafted one that has remained in the league for more than a year in the past 12 years. Nevertheless, they have Cam Thomas, who was red hot for a while, then Saddiq Bey, Kyle Kuzma, and Jarrett Allen. Shooting guard, Cameron Thomas. Small forward, Saddiq Bey. Power forward, Kyle Kuzma. Center, Jarrett Allen. There is just no way this team is going to make the playoffs, and I'm not even hating. But now on to the number 1 team. Drumroll please. Number 1, Cleveland Cavaliers. This team is just a cheat and should not be legal. I mean, how else are other NBA teams going to handle a lineup of Kyrie Irving, Darius Garland, Andrew Wiggins, and the NBA all-time leading scorer, LeBron James? By the way, the Cavs haven't drafted a center since 2001, and while we can play Tristan Thompson at a position and in the center position, this Cavs team is still lethal. Point guard, Kyrie Irving. Shooting guard, Darius Garland. Small forward, Andrew Wiggins. Power forward, LeBron James. Center, Tristan Thompson. Now, in addition to the trio of Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Tristan Thompson that brought a championship to Cleveland, the Cavs have Darius Garland, who is averaging 22 points per game, and Andrew Wiggins, who is also averaging 17.1 points on 47.3% shooting. It is just going to be raining buckets. Now, moving on to the Western Conference. Number 8, Dallas Mavericks. At number 8, we have the Dallas Mavericks, and while Luka might be the franchise player now, it was Trae Young who was actually drafted by the Mavs. Trae would have cooked with the Mavs if he had stayed, since he would have been dishing out dimes for fun in addition to scoring for the team. In any case, at shooting guard, we have Jalen Brunson. Just imagining Brunson and Trae in the Western Conference. Regardless, to balance the team, we have Justin Anderson, Kelly Olynyk, and Mike Muscala. Point guard, Trae Young. Shooting guard, Jalen Brunson. Small forward, Justin Anderson. Power forward, Kelly Olynyk. Center, Mike Muscala. I mean, while Mavs fans will not want to trade their current team for this lineup, one can't help but admit that this team is actually underrated. Number 7, Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies come in at number 7. Although it could be difficult to choose between Kyle Lowry and Ja Morant as their best point guard, just for the sake of it, let Lowry play as the shooting guard. Then we have DeMar Carroll, Kevin Love, and Jaren Jackson. Point guard, Ja Morant. Shooting guard, Kyle Lowry. Small forward, DeMar Carroll. Power forward, Kevin Love. Center, Jaren Jackson. Aside from John Lowry, having K-Love on your team used to be a guaranteed double-double. Moreover, the addition of Jackson, who is making a case for the Defensive Player of the Year this season, makes this Grizzlies team a problem. Number 6, Los Angeles Lakers. At number 6, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, choosing between D'Angelo Russell and Lonzo Ball for the point guard position is a tough choice. But as you may know, Russell is back with the Lakers and plays that position already. So he gets it while Lonzo gets the shooting guard spot. Then we have Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, and Ivica Zubac. Point guard, D'Angelo Russell. Shooting guard, Lonzo Ball. Small forward, Brandon Ingram. Power forward, Julius Randle. And center, Ivica Zubac. Now, with the exception of Zubac, practically all of these players have what it takes to be franchise players. Even if you disagree about Randle being one, you just have to consider what he is doing with the Knicks this season. Number 5, Minnesota Timberwolves. Up next, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Even if you are trying to rate this team solely based on the point guard, it still remains a roster that no team wants to mess with. At the point guard, we have Ricky Rubio, but away from Rubio, the rest are easy walking buckets and a threat at all positions. I am talking about Zach LaVine, Anthony Edwards, Lauri Markkanen, and Karl Anthony Towns. Point guard, Ricky Rubio. Shooting guard, Zach LaVine. Small forward, Anthony Edwards. Power forward, Lauri Markkanen. Center, Karl Anthony Towns. Now there is just no way you can't see this team making it to the conference finals. LaVine and Ant are no doubt two of the league's best scorers. And then we have Markkanen, who is currently averaging 25.4 points on 51.2% shooting and 8.5 rebounds per game. And despite all of that, they have the dominant bully in the paint, Karl Anthony Towns. Number 4, New Orleans Pelicans. At number 4, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, so you can be sure that the point guard spot absolutely goes to none other than the point god, Chris Paul. And then we have Buddy Hield, Herb Jones, Zion Williams, and Anthony Davis. Point guard, Chris Paul. Shooting guard, Buddy Hield. Small forward, Herb Jones. Power forward, Zion Williams. Center, Anthony Davis. Just imagine a team with AD and Zion. That's a wrap. Then to top it all off, they have Buddy Hield, one of the league's top 3-point shooters, and CP3, who can dish out assists as well. Trust me, without anyone suffering from an injury, it's a wrap. Number 3, Denver Nuggets. Up next, we have the Denver Nuggets. Now, this lineup is just so unfair, and I am sure no one wants to play this team. Jamal Murray takes the point guard position. Then we have Donovan Mitchell and Michael Porter Jr. And despite this already stacked lineup, we are adding Nikola Jokic and Rudy Gobert. Point guard, Jamal Murray. Shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell. Small forward, Michael Porter Jr. Power forward, Nikola Jokic. Center, Rudy Gobert. Now, if you all remember correctly, Jamal Murray lit up the bubble, and despite his season-long injury, he is back and better. Mitchell dropping 71 points on the Bulls, well, that's still fresh in our minds. Michael Porter Jr. currently shoots 40.9% from beyond the arc, and they have Rudy Gobert to protect the rim. Then they have back-to-back MVP Jokic. How is this fair? I mean, how? Number 2, Golden State Warriors. Tough choice for number 2 ahead of the Nuggets, but this particular lineup holds the record for the most wins in an NBA regular season. So yeah, the Golden State Warriors take the number 2 spot. Without any tussle, Steph Curry takes the point guard role. Then we have Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney. Point guard, Steph Curry. Shooting guard, Klay Thompson. Small forward, Harrison Barnes. Power forward, Draymond Green. Center, Kevon Looney. I mean, this is a proven lineup, and while Harrison Barnes is the only one no longer with the Warriors, his performance in the 2015-2016 lineup is one you cannot forget. So in summary, this roster, having 73 wins, gives it a nod over the Nuggets. And now the number 1 team in the West is... Wait, okay, just wait a minute. Let me reveal the worst team in the Western Conference. It is none other than the San Antonio Spurs. Worst team, San Antonio Spurs. For a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 3 years, this Spurs starting lineup won't still make the playoffs. To be honest, there is a reason DeJounte Murray left. This lineup practically has no center, and apart from DeJounte Murray, they have Trey Jones, Joe Wieskamp, and Chimezie Metu. Point guard, Trey Jones. Shooting guard, DeJounte Murray. Small forward, Joe Wieskamp. Power forward, Chimezie Metu. Center, nobody. Now, I will leave you to guess how many wins with this starting lineup can even get in a season. Number 1, Oklahoma City Thunder. Finally, to the number 1 best team in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder takes first place. We're talking about a starting lineup with 3 different winners of the NBA MVP award. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Then we have Chet Holmgren and Steven Adams to support this super team. Point guard, Russell Westbrook. Shooting guard, James Harden. Small forward, Kevin Durant. Power forward, Chet Holmgren. Center, Steven Adams. Even though Chet Holmgren hasn't yet appeared in an NBA game, you cannot deny that there is a reason that many regard him as the next unicorn. I mean, do we really need to talk about how good Westbrook, Harden, and KD are? Not to mention having the huge Steven Adams in defense just makes this team one to beat. I mean, who exactly is going to beat this team? Who? In any case, the NBA Finals matchup would be the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. So who do you think would win the matchup? How many game series do you think it would take? Let me know down in the comment section below.